love that I'm doing a video teaching you all how to dress for an interview and I am not even in proper interview attire. That is hilarious, but I guess I get a pass because I am at the house. I am not in an interview. Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Dr. Nandy Nelson and I do a lot of different things on this channel. However, my purpose today is to help you, either a aspiring RBT or BT, or someone who is already in the midst of the field and you are looking for your next opportunity that will level up your career. So today I will be diving into something that is super practical but oftentimes overlooked, and that is going to be how to dress for your RBT or your BT interview. And again, don't wear nothing like this. And this might seem like a very small detail, and it's super often overlooked. And I interview so many people, whether it be RBTs, BTs, BCBAs, interns, all different types of people I interview within my company. However, we'll stick to the facts that this specific video is based upon RBTs, but let me tell you, there is something that sets apart RBTs or BTs who dress appropriate for interviews versus those who do not. And I think one thing that a lot of people miss is because you're working with children, you think that you still should not dress professionally. At the end of the day, as an RBT or as a BT, you are a professional. You are interacting with children, families, as well as other providers and practitioners. So it is so important that you not only look your best, but you can feel your best by looking your best, being confident. So let's talk a little bit more about why this actually matters, right? You may think it's only clothes. Why are we even talking about this? There's a reason. I already mentioned that you want to look the part so that you are also confident. And when we're thinking about parents who are bringing their children for services with us or within our companies that we're employed in, they are also looking at what we look like and what our appearance is. Let's take a step back. When you go to a dental office, or when you go to a hospital or a clinic of some sort for a service, you expect a person to look some type of way, right? If your doctor walked in without their white coat with a pair of stretch pants or yoga pants and an oversized tee and some sneakers, flip-flops, or Crocs, what would you think? Would you think that this person is competent enough to perform whatever it is that they're doing on you that day, whether it be an operation or examination? Absolutely not. It's the same thing. Granted, we work with children, most of us who are within the ABA space, or most of us who are RBTs or BTs. Usually you're working with children. However, just because you work with children does not mean that you should not look professional or polished enough to be able to not only show that you're confident, but also place confidence in others that you are able to do the job effectively and efficiently. And I know some of you might say, I don't need to dress a certain way to show that I'm competent. I don't need to do this. But optics are everything. Even if you are the smartest person in the room, even if you can implement the cleanest DTT trowel, or you are the NET GOAT, it does not matter if at first impression someone does not see you as being able to do those things just based upon how you're dressed. Because at the end of the day, your outfit or your appearance sends a message even before you open your mouth and say a word. So I am going to help you to find that balance of being polished but also practical, because like I said, we do work with children. I don't know if you all have watched that show before. I think it was on TLC, like What Not to Wear. This is something like that. It's like what to wear and what not to wear. So first we're going to start off on what you should be wearing. Business casual in the interview space is your best friend, especially for an RBT or a BT role. We are not expecting you as an employer. That's why I'm saying we, because again, I do many interviews with RBTs and BTs. So we are not expecting for you to come in a full suit. We are not expecting you to come in necessarily in a business dress or heels or anything of that nature, because again, that is not really practical for the type of field that we're in and what we do. So some things that you can wear are khakis, a blouse, a button up or a collared shirt, some type of slack, even if it is a clean and put together like t-shirt, like a white t-shirt or something like that, that you wear with some nice slacks and maybe a loafer or a closed-toe shoe. Those are the things that you can wear and that you should wear to an interview. Also, something that could be appropriate is a nice cardigan if you're a female, or if it is that you're a male or even a female, you can wear like a nice sweater, depending upon season. Of course, we're in the middle of summer, so who's coming in with a sweater and a cardigan, right? But those are some things that you can wear. And if it is that you must wear a dress, or you think that it is appropriate for you to wear a dress at your interview, making sure that it is a dress that at least comes to your knees or perhaps even longer. Because again, while we want to make sure that we're showing that we are professional and can dress professionally, we want to also make sure that our attire is appropriate for the role and what we are interviewing for. You also want to make sure that your colors that you're choosing are very neutral. So any type of cool tones, blues, tans, even black, grays, those are always really great colors to wear during an interview. You want to make sure that you are staying away from loud and busy prints, bright colors. Don't get me wrong, I love a bright color. Look at my cup. I love a bright color. I love fun. I love all the things. But would I go to an interview with that type of attire? Absolutely not, because it's distracting and it's busy. So you want to make sure that when you are interviewing that you're considering what are some of those cool or neutral tones, or kind of like those monochromatic style tones that I have, that can help the employer really see me for the things that are coming out of my mouth and not necessarily be distracted by what I'm wearing. Now this one here, this one sometimes eats y'all up. Clothes that are well fitted. There's a fine line between tailored and too tight. And I am here to help and I am here to guide. I am not here to judge. But let me tell you, for those that I have interviewed in the past and they have come in with very tight clothing or crop tops with their midriff showing, honestly, the first impression is not positive. I'm not judging you because I love me a good crop and a little stomach showing outside of work. But it's important to know where you're at and your setting and what's appropriate for the setting in which you're in as it relates to your attire. So please, when you are preparing your outfit for your interview, make sure that your garment is not restrictive. You might be asked to act certain things out or role play or do different components within your interview that require for you to move. And if you're consistently tugging at your dress or tugging at your pants or your top to make sure that you're not becoming exposed in certain ways and you're stiff and you can't move, that also is a barrier to your interview process. So the purpose again of this video is to help you to be successful as you're going along in your interview process and not having to worry about, oh, if I bend over to pick something up, am I exposing myself? So remember, if you take nothing else away from this video, there is a difference between well-fitted or tailored versus tight. If you come in with something that's well-fitted and tailored, I love that for you. If you don't, that's fine as well. Just make sure that it's not too baggy, because that's also the opposite end of the spectrum. Because sometimes if your clothes are very baggy, especially at an interview, then that can also look unprofessional because it can make you look pretty sloppy and unkept. You know what? Let's just dive right into the things not to wear, since we're here already. And again, we have all made these mistakes. When you're nervous already for an interview, you're probably feeling clammy and sweaty and you don't know what to wear. That's why I created this video. So share with your friends if you know that they're interviewing, so that they can know how to set themselves up for success in their next interview. But we've all been there. We've all been nervous. So this is why I am trying to help you, so that at least this can be one thing that's off your plate during your interview process and you're able to really focus in and hone in on your answers and acing that interview. Please avoid the leggings, the athletic gear, the casual gear, honestly. If the agency does not tell you because you have a working interview or something of the sort to wear casual or athletic gear, leave it for the weekend, leave it for after work, leave it for the gym. Casual gear or athletic attire more specifically is not for the workplace. Me specifically, in our agency, we are only allowed to wear athletic style gear if we are training in any type of crisis management and things like that. On the day-to-day, there is no athletic gear because one, oftentimes when people have the freedom, I should say, to choose to wear more casual attire, it gets very, very tricky on that borderline of what is appropriate and what is not appropriate. And again, we're in the segment of talking about what's not appropriate. What is not appropriate is seeing your underwear or your butt under your leggings because of the thinness of the fabric. What is not appropriate is, again, seeing your midriff area. That is not appropriate. Having excessive exposure to your upper area. Those things are not appropriate, not only for the workplace and what we're doing, but also we're working with children. No one wants to see the imprint of your underwear through your leggings. Or your butt cheeks through your leggings. Like, nobody wants to see that. So let's keep the focus, right, on the core of our responsibilities and what we're doing, or on what you have to say in your interview, and not all of the other optics and things that are going on. So please do not wear casual attire to an interview. Honestly, even if they say you can wear casual attire, I would probably honestly still be on that borderline of business casual attire just because you can play it safe. And they may say, wow, I like the way that she dressed for this interview, or I like the way that he dressed for this interview. Yes, we said casual, but they've shown that they've taken initiative as well as taken this opportunity serious and did a little bit of up level to what the typical people do. Now, that is something that will set yourself apart. Another thing is jeans. Even though jeans can be considered casual, I would always say don't wear jeans, right? You're in the interview phase. Probably when you get the job, there might be dress down days, or you might just wear casual attire, and that is fine. But at an interview, you want to put your best foot forward. So do not go to the interview with jeans on. This is another one that be gathering, y'all. And I'm not gonna lie. The perfume, the fragrance. Some of y'all smell good. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I'm like, oh, what is that scent? It smells good. But there's been other times where I'm like, ugh. The fragrance. Heavy. We are working with children. If I'm coughing, it can barely breathe. The kids can't breathe. I am so mentally distracted on, am I going to survive the next half an hour to an hour? Is there a headache that is creeping up in my brain due to this scent? Wear something mild or nothing at all. I know we all like to smell good. Listen, I'm a fragrance girly. I love a good scent. And like I said, sometimes some of the interviews I've had, I'm like, oh, I like that scent, or they smell so good. Oh my goodness. But there's also interviews that I've had, like I was just demonstrating, where I cannot breathe in the interview and I want it to hurry and be over with because I feel a headache coming on. So just to be on the safe side, do not wear heavy fragrances, or if you do decide to wear a fragrance at all, making sure that it is something very subtle or something that is very light. The next thing you want to be mindful is your jewelry and your accessories. I don't know if you all have ever like watched a video or a radio show or something and you just hear this clinking and clacking the whole segment in the background because someone has these loud bangles on just jingling. It's distracting because you're more so tuned in as the interviewer with the jingling and jingle bells happening in the background versus, again, being focused on the purpose, which is what that person has to say that is in front of you. So wearing something more dainty as it relates to your jewelry, if you are a female or a male, wearing something that is not loud, and I don't even want to say obnoxious because I don't think that that's the appropriate word, but when you're trying to listen to someone and then there's a lot of extra stuff going on in the background, it is very distracting. So making sure that you are wearing something that won't be as distracting. And then too, if it is that there's a component of your interview or you're role playing or you're doing things, you don't want your jewelry to get in the way or it to feel like excessive. Again, similar to your clothing where you're trying to adjust your jewelry or different things to make yourself feel more comfortable in the interview, which ultimately results in just being a bigger distraction. So now we will talk about grooming. You don't have to spend a lot of time, right, grooming yourself unless that's just who you are. I know I got some self-care queens and kings on here who, you know, do the facial routine, do the hair, the this, the that. But if that is not you, that is okay. We want to make sure that we are always putting our best foot forward. And a way to do this from a grooming perspective is making sure that your clothes are ironed. I can be guilty sometimes because I'm lazy. Hence why I have a plain black tee on today. It was easy. It did not need an iron to it. So this is why I chose this shirt. My other clothing needed a little iron to it. And did I have time to do that today? Absolutely not. So that's why I didn't choose it. However, if you're going to an interview, you want to take some time to iron your clothing. Goes again back to first impression. If you walk out the house for an interview and you're wrinkled and crumbly, then some people might think that you don't even have the thought to take a few minutes to iron your clothing to show up as your best self. It just like you just pulled that straight out of the bottom of the hamper that you done had balled up in the corner for weeks until it was time for your interview. For your makeup, having it be very minimal, natural if it is that you wear makeup, something that is not very loud, right? We don't want any purple, pink lipstick, heavy blush, heavy eyeshadow, purple, green, blue, orange. It's distracting. Beautiful, beautiful, right? But it's distracting. That is things that you wear outside of work. That is things that you wear on the weekends. That is not something that you wear and show up to in an interview. It's just distracting. Your hair should also be neat and put together or out of your face if possible. I don't think there's a specific hairstyle. Like, you should be who you are. I am 100% believer of showing up as your authentic self, but showing up as your best polished authentic self. If you did not have time to comb your hair before you left the house, and you know you usually comb your hair, bring the comb with you. Bring the brush with you so that your hair is smooth enough or tamed enough so that, again, you're showing up as your best self. Because, like I mentioned, the first impression is a lasting impression. And within those first 3 to 5 seconds of someone looking at you that is interviewing you, they are already making a judgment on how the interview might be just by looking at you. And it's not to say that there is anything wrong with it. That's just how we're wired as individuals. You go into some place and immediately you make a judgment. Not to say that all judgments are negative or all judgments are positive, but that's just how we are as human beings. You see something and you immediately make a decision or you have a thought based upon what you see. That's just how we're wired. So because we are wired as such as human beings, you want to make sure that when someone is looking at you for that 3 to 5 seconds, that they already know you are coming to kill that interview, land that job, and let them know who you are and why they should hire you for the position. And my girlies with the nails, let me do a clap so y'all can hear me better. My girlies with the nails. Keep them short, keep them cute, keep them clean. You don't have to have your nails done, but when you're working with children, sometimes if we're working in the ABA space, we may have to prompt or sometimes be in physical contact with children. So very long nails or the what they call silhouette, the little pointy long nails, things like that. They can be a potential hazard, not only to your clients, but also to yourself if it is that your nail breaks or something like that. So making sure that your nails are properly manicured. You don't have to go and get a gel set or go to get a manicure from the nail salon. But if it is that your nails are painted and are chippy, just take off the nail polish. You never know what people are looking at. Some people are pretty detail oriented and they look at everything, and some people aren't. So you don't want to give people room to say anything that is not even there. So if you think about it in advance, You can make the modifications to your nails or things like that. I've had many people who have interviewed with me with longer nails, way longer than what my nails are right now. And I would not say that that is a deal breaker, but if it does become that the nails become difficult or a distraction as they are working on the job, then I do have to have conversations with them about modifying the length of their nails or things like that in order for them to be able to be most effective in the position. And I know I told y'all that I would tell you what to wear and what not to wear, but y'all, if you have been around the way, y'all know I am a giver. I am a giver. So I'm also going to tell you what you need to bring to your interview. Don't just show up looking sharp. You also need to have these things when you go to your interview. Bring your resume, a printed copy. One thing that grinds me up is when people say, oh, I sent it when I applied for the job. Yeah, I know, but I still asked you to bring a copy. It's the little things. The little things. So bring a copy of your resume, whether they ask for it or not. Sometimes you can be in a group interview and they may want to share out your resume to other people that are interviewing you, aside from just that individual that you've been in communication with, or whomever you've been in the communication with in the HR department may not have necessarily provided the document hard copy to the person that is interviewing you. So be sure to bring a copy of your resume as well as your references and a list of your references. Sometimes I've had candidates bring a list of references. Sometimes I've had them bring reference letters. If you do decide to bring a reference letter, just make sure that you also have that contact information of the individual who wrote your reference letter. Because let's be honest, sometimes people can write their own reference letters. And I know that's not you, of course, but make sure that you have the ability for someone to be able to contact that individual should they wish to contact them. It's also good to bring any certifications that you might have, extra copies of those if possible, so that the individual that's interviewing you can review your certification. So that is always a plus if you have those, because it also shows that you've invested in yourself as a professional and you're coming to the table with something already. You also want to consider bringing a notebook, a pen, or some type of notepad so that you can take notes. I love when someone is in an interview and they tell me like, oh, I brought a notepad or a book and or a notebook and I'm just gonna take a few notes. I love that. Yes, take your notes. Take your notes, because that shows me that you're attentive. That shows me that you are wanting to remember maybe some component of the interview that you want to take back with you, or it might be something that can then spark a question or a follow-up question that you might have for me. So you never know what the interview process will be like. Even if, again, you have to do some type of mock role plays or different things like that, you can always jot it down, and that can also be an area where questions can stem from if it is that you have more specifics about the job or the role or what the things will look like within the company that you're applying for. You also want to make sure that you have questions for the interviewer, and not just how much does the job pay. For me, that's a pet peeve, because for our job postings, the pay is there. When we're scheduling the interview, the pay range is there. So for you to come to the interview and ask me the same question again, sometimes I'm like, did you even read or how many jobs are you applying for that you don't remember? The kicker, I'm gonna do a sidebar. The kicker too for that, if you are applying for jobs, know what you're applying for. When a person reaches back out to you, don't ask them, what job is this for again? Hold on, what one was that? Y'all hiring where? You need to write down every place that you're applying for so that, again, you look professional and also competent when people are returning your calls or returning your emails for positions. Y'all are locked in with me. I want you to succeed. I want you to win. And that is not a way to win or a way to succeed. So please, if nothing else, I know I said that earlier, but if nothing else, literally, that's a big one. Make sure if you're applying to multiple jobs that you're writing it down so that you can look your best when an employer is reaching back out to you. And last, you want to make sure you're coming with a positive attitude. You are working with children for most RBT and BT positions, whether it be in the home, a center, a school, the community, a group home, you are working with individuals who are going to need energy, going to need positivity, going to need optimism. And if you are interviewing and you're dry and they're asking you to tell them about yourself and stuff, and you're like, thank you for having me. My name is Nandy, and I've been in the field for like a year. I'm looking to change companies because, I'm just looking for something new. What? Can you imagine if I did this video in that tone and like dry? Y'all would have been clicked off. You would have been out. Like, oh no. Oh no. So muster up that Disney character energy and give it your all. That is your shot that you have in that moment to let that person know that you are the man or the woman or the person for that job. Okay? I want you all to succeed. I really, really do. So please make sure that you are showing up as your best self from what it is that is coming out of your mouth, as well as what it is that you bring with you for preparation purposes, and also how it is that you look. It is honestly a complete package. It is not just what you look like. It is not just what you say. It is not just how prepared you are and what you bring. It is everything that is being evaluated that helps that individual to make a decision if they believe that you are the best fit for the role, for the culture of the organization, or for the team. So I know for some of you, you might be thinking, well, where can I get these clothes? Where are places that I can shop that are affordable and that will help me to hit the mark when it comes to my attire? Consider these stores. Target. I know some of you all are not shopping at Target, and that is fine. If not, go to Walmart. But there are some very stylish and affordable pieces that you can get from, like I was saying, Target, Walmart, Costco, Sam's, BJ's. They have some really nice basics that might be aligned with what you can afford, but also too something that you can put together that makes you look clean and crisp. Also allows you to find a lot of different neutral tones and things like that, because I get a lot of my work pants from Costco. Wow. I also get a lot of my basics from Target. This actually came from Target. And you can get something that is at an affordable price and that's stylish and good quality. So check out those stores, I should say. H&M, Old Navy are also really, really good for neutrals as well as basics. H&M can be a little bit pricey. I know Old Navy actually these days, some of these stores, I don't know who they think they are, but Old Navy definitely increased their prices as well. I'm gonna be honest. But those stores really also have great neutrals that are very versatile, and not only just in the interview, but also too when you get the job and you're working with clients and you have to either wear some more like business casual or semi business casual attire. Those are some stores that can help you with landing that look. Amazon, again, for those of you who are shopping at Amazon, I don't think I could live without Amazon, honestly. But they have really great basics at affordable prices as well. Quick shipping. It might be that there's a certain color that you're looking for. You probably can find it 9 times out of 10 on Amazon versus going to the malls or Targets or those stores and shifting through all what they have. And finally, you would be very surprised by what the thrift store has. If it is that you're like, Nandy, I cannot afford anything on Amazon right now. I cannot afford Target, H&M, those stores. No worries. Your local thrift store, Goodwill, Red, White, and Blue, some of those types of stores have really, really good professional attire. And oftentimes some of those professional attire pieces that you can find in those stores are name brand, and you could probably get them for like $3, $4. A nice pair of slacks, a nice blouse. So make sure that you check out those types of stores if you are looking for something to wear that is professional in the interview space, but also too something that could easily segue into your day-to-day job look. So let me know in the comments if you have a go-to look for your interviews. We are a community. So anything that you have to share, drop it in the comments below because it can help someone else. Also, let me know if you have an upcoming interview and what you are planning to wear. I really hope that this video was helpful. And so if it was, give this video a thumbs up. Be sure to also share it with your friends, even if they aren't interviewing right now, because I think honestly anybody could benefit from this video, whether you're in the ABA space or not. And don't forget to subscribe. And I would love to say thank you all for watching and good luck on your next interview. You got this. As long as you follow the tips that I gave you thus far, I know you'll land the role.